from the Stuff I Wish I Knew Earlier series, how to get your GoPro and your Oxbow headlight mounted on your helmet in a way that it's not going to get ripped off by trees and you're going to get the camera angle that you like. Let's start with the GoPro right here. This is a GoPro Hero 9. I have this mounted on my chin. Some guys will mount it on the underside of their visor facing forward, and there are a couple other places to do it. I have tried mounting camera on the side and on the top. Let me tell you why that didn't work. The top gets taken off by trees, and the side gets taken off by, you guessed it, also trees, or when you hit the ground, or a number of other occasions. This is the best setup that I've found so far. Now, I kind of cheaped out. I didn't go the ultra professional way. This bracket right here is about $20. I found it on Amazon, and I'll post a link right here. You can see that I had to make a minor modification for this particular helmet because it was a little bit too wide. This Aero helmet is quite narrow at the front. All I had to do is put an extra layer of the 3M adhesive underneath the one side, and it works perfectly. The real question is, how do you set up the angle so that the camera is looking where you're looking at on the trail? One way to figure out how to adjust your camera is by getting your helmet on and getting a square. It doesn't have to be a carpenter's square, it can be a square piece of cardboard for all that matters. If you line it up with your camera like this, and then raise it up to the height that you can sight down, this will tell you where your camera is at. So right now, I'm approximately looking straight down this, and this is square with my camera. I can see that if my camera is tilted too far forward, I mean, obviously the square is not lining up, I would have to have my head way up here to be looking at the horizon. So I'm going to adjust my camera until I'm looking approximately down the horizon, about where I would normally look if I were in the attack position. And I can square this up with the camera, and that tells me that the camera is looking pretty much exactly the same area that I'm looking. The reason I like this particular mount is that it gets the camera further away from my helmet. You can see that this mount's adjustable. I can have it up close like that. I can have it far away like that. I've found that it does need to be a fair ways away so that by the time I'm said and done, I can bring this camera back to the point where it's almost touching. I kind of just grab my finger, make sure I've got about a finger's width, a little bit less in there. And that's about right when you're riding a lot of hilly terrain, when I'm doing a lot of hill climbs, going up and down, all that kind of stuff. If I'm doing a lot of flat stuff, like I'm just going to ride a river, I'll angle it down slightly, but not much. What I've found in the past is almost every single time I've had my camera too low. I've never yet had my camera too high. So by having this extra bracket on here, it allows me to tip my camera back so that it's, even with how I have my Oxbow set up and directly following my line of vision. Whoa. Here's another option. Now this option gets your camera a little bit lower. And for myself, I am always standing on my bike. I never sit down. And that's mostly because my balance is horrible and I find standing easier. But this, by having your camera down here, you see a little bit more of your bars. I've seen that on some people's videos, and I think that that's a really good option as well. With the camera up the way that I showed you in the first place, here's some examples of it in some of these clips. You don't see the bike very much. You see the scenery, everything's nice and stable because, again, you're at the most stable part of your body. Your neck is helping to stabilize everything. But this way you do see a little bit more of the bike.
Whoa! That wasn't exactly what I had planned in my head.
The next thing we have to figure out how to do is get the wire for my Oxbow light secured. So here's what I've got figured out. I make a little Velcro sandwich. Put this on. So I've got some industrial strength Velcro right here. I got from Home Depot. This is good for 10 pounds-ish per inch or something like that. Cut a strip, and I always put not the fuzzy side, but the pokey side in, because this repels dirt a lot better. Now that that's adhered, I can put this guy on top, and I just made a little Velcro sandwich. That will now hold my cord so it's out of the way. So I'm going to put one right up top there. I'll put one close to the base of my helmet, and then that'll secure the light. Okay, next, here's how I figured to mount my Oxbow headlight. These headlights are ridiculously bright, and they're fantastic for night riding. If I had a visor that was straight flat, I would mount it right in the middle. In this case, I don't. So I have it mounted a little bit off to the side. This thing's so light that I don't notice it. I ride with it all the time, even in the daytime, and it's there in case of emergency. And all that I did is I got one of the flatter mounts and adhered it right up to my visor. From there, again, using that Velcro sandwich technique, I routed the wire back so that it's never in my way and it's never bothering me, and it's ready to hook up to my pack whenever I want. My goggles will go over top of this. If I find that they're in the way, I'll just stretch this down a little bit more. But overall, I found that this is the most comfortable way to set it up. And then that way it's always there in case, you know, there's an emergency, I end up being out later than I had planned, there's a breakdown, something like that, I've always got my headlight. Here are the settings that I like to use. Under resolution, 2.7K works really well for me, 60 frames per second. You can go up to 4K, but the battery life will be shorter, and I don't see that much of an improvement in quality personally. Lens linear plus horizon leveling, that's what the HL stands for. It's going to give you a little more stability. Hyper smooth, I like on high. It seems like you're floating through the trees with those settings. Another valuable accessory for my GoPro are these screen protectors. You can see right across here that this lens looks like it's cracked. Now, fortunately, that is just a thin piece of glass that's on top of my screen as protection. I can peel it off now because I've got to replace it anyways. This is not an expensive safety piece to have. I bought screen protectors off Amazon. Again, I'll give you the link. And it comes with 2 sets for each lens. So there's the front lens, there's the front screen, and the back screen. I've got 2 pieces of each of those. You can see on the camera that this is already needing to be replaced. So obviously it was a wise investment. The last thing I got off Amazon that I'm pretty happy with is I got a variety pack of different types of mounts. You can see how this guy has a big curve to it. This guy is pretty much flat and has a different shape. Same thing with that. It comes with a fair variety of different style mounts. That came in really handy when I was trying to find the perfect mount that fit this curve right up there. And I ride with a couple of these in my pack just in case something happens. It also comes with a variety of 3M adhesive pads in different sizes. So if you do need to double something up, or if you just need to pick the size that's going to work well for you, you get a variety of options with that. Here you can see the exact same setup. Slightly different helmet. This arrow has a much flatter top, so we're able to put that mount right dead center for the headlight. I'm using the exact same bracket as I'm on mine. Here you can see I didn't have to build it up on one side because it's wide enough that it accepts the mount quite well. So here's the finished product. I've been riding this particular helmet all season like this, and I'm quite happy with the setup. Haven't had any issues, haven't had any problems. Hopefully this helps you figure out the angle that you're after Remember, you can pretty much never go too high with your camera angle. Too low all the time, but too high, very, very rarely. There are other parts in the series. Part 1 is how to get two full-size dirt bikes into the back of a short box pickup. And we will be adding other things as well. So subscribe, like, and hopefully there's more content that you'll enjoy.